to finish it up and wrap up the day.
Thank you so much, Pyra and Kikis. Kikis there, laying down the law. And I think it's quite interesting because obviously before this split, we were saying, okay, well, it's going to be so incredibly stacked here and there. But it does seem that he has a point and there's two clear, well, very strong teams at the top right now. Although we're just a couple of games in, I can follow his lead, Trevor.
I completely agree. And it's actually something that I said on PTL last night as well. It's something that will take time to settle. I'm going to refer to, of course, the comments about the AD carries. Kik is saying that he feels Gambit and SK were hurt by the moves. They have been right now. There are 15 games left for both of these teams to improve and improve drastically. When you look at what Unicorns just did, when you look at what Origin have been doing, when you look at what Fnatic have been doing, those are the targets for all of these teams to be aspiring to.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, UOL just got to touch on the game with stress maybe one more time, because a lot stemmed, as you guys said, from the, well, quite, I want to say horrible, I'm just going to say it, horrible draft from Copenhagen Wolves. But when you look back to the bans, Kog'Maw, Varus, those are bans that are actually quite good. And the rec side, there's nothing to bring in against that either.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear that they just wanted to get away from what Paravival's been playing recently. But quite frankly, when you look at the matchups they ended up with, you got Ryze into Maokai that we saw earlier, does not go well for Maokai. You ended up with Kassadin on the Wolf side against Cassiopeia, which is going to go well for the Cassiopeia, and even the jungle against Gragas from the Unicorns. It's you picked yourself into three very tough matchups against, you know, players from Unicorns that are very good when they have that one, you know, that lane matchup that they want.
All right, indeed, and it played out that way for the Unicorns of Love as well. Another victory for them. Stepping back and looking at the day as a whole, one carry really stood out, picking up 14 kills, 18 assists in his team's clash with SK Gaming with a total of 59 points. But it ends Niels as today's LCS fantasy leader. He wants it all. He had the MVP. He wants to be the LCS fantasy leader. He's stepping up.
I'm a little sad because I've got his support on my fantasy team. He only got me 47 points, but I think all credit to all of Origin. The only reason Niels got so many kills is because his entire team kept enabling it.
And I mean, Origin just in general, you have to wonder where's it going to stop. They took down the number 3 team from Spring Split last week. They took down number 4. That means there's only 2 teams left from that top side, and SK aren't looking like they're going to stop Origin anytime soon.
No, they are definitely looking strong. I think LoL Esports retreated someone who had almost all members from Origin in the lineup, and then Bjergsen as well in there. So that guy's doing good this week. Now, with the dust settled, here's how the standings look halfway through week 2. Of course, as we said already, undefeated at the top of the table, Origin and Fnatic. Then a bunch of teams in the middle of the table at 1 and 2, but at the bottom, Gambit Gaming and SK. And well, what stress for you has been more surprising in this one? Gambit and SK trying to find their footing, but it still hasn't been there.
Yeah, they've just found no footing at all. They're basically in free fall. But for any Gambit and SK fans, this is not a big alarm bell yet. I'll take you back to Spring Split. H2K coming into week 3 were not on form. Little bit of a tweak in their lineup, brought in Kissing, and they ended up 3rd in the season. So it is not all over yet. Don't start jumping ship at all.
Yeah, we'll need a Kissing 2.0 for that Kissing effect to get people back into good results here. But I think it's interesting that Ryze has entered the fray, and while teams may have not prepared for it fully, they will definitely have to prepare for it tomorrow. And this might throw a lot of preparation teams have done. Usually they start their picks and bans halfway through the week, then scrim a little more, perfect the plans, and have everything ready for their matches. But now suddenly this big question mark pops up. Most teams should have been prepared for the Rise, but they may not have been. And then it's always going to be interesting to see how these picks and bans evolve. We went on top of it on the start of the show. We saw Alistar come in a lot. We were like, yeah, you have to ban Alistar. You have to ban Rise. Doesn't leave that much room anymore.
It really doesn't. What it also will show tomorrow is which teams are able to adapt in the shorter space of time and who can use the Rise and who cannot. Because at the moment, I think it's 2-0 with 3 bans. So we'll need to see if people decide, oh, we've got a counter for it, or if you're just going to completely ban it, and then let top lane carries get the carries they're most comfortable on.
Yeah, a lot of work for the coaches overnight to come up with those new plans maybe for tomorrow. But the standings could all change tomorrow as well, of course. Week 2 will continue with Gambit taking on Fnatic in our very first game tomorrow. We have Unicorns of Love versus Rocket. H2K versus Elements is our first game, and I'm very, very much looking forward to that. H2K looked so strong today, and Elements, Crepo, just, well, not there yet, and even losing to Giants in a very, very convincing fashion.
Yeah, definitely disappointing loss. Elements came out 1-1 in the first week, I believe, and then they wanted to make a statement. They wanted to get that win on the board to stay competitive, and just lost, and not, as you said, in a convincing fashion, and just wasn't all there. Poor prioritization by Jungle Pressure too. And they need to work on their plan going into the game. They need to think a couple more steps ahead, and we'll see tomorrow if they're ready for H2K to do that.
Yeah, but like a disappointed father, you're really keeping
As a
track of
macro level analyst,
Yes.
I am disappointed in many teams, not only Netherlands.
All right. Well, set your alarms tomorrow because the action starts at 6 p.m. Central European Summer Time. That is 9 a.m. Pacific. If you're not up by 6 p.m. Central European Summer Time, I hope you won your promos. Until then, we're going to call it a night on behalf of the European LCS team. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll hear, oh my God. We'll see you back here tomorrow for the exciting conclusion of Week 2. Goodbye.